The uncomfortable thing we found across 30 videos is this. The standard framing about AI and your career is wrong in both directions simultaneously. The fear version overstates how fast jobs disappear. The optimism version understates how fast the value of work inside those jobs shifts. Both lead to bad decisions. One causes panic pivots that are not necessary yet. The other produces false security that delays adaptation until the window closes. The accurate picture sits between them, and it is more useful than either. A McKinsey analysis of over 800 occupations found that roughly 60% of jobs have at least 30% of their tasks technically automatable right now. But almost no jobs are 100% automatable. Let that land. Not 60% of jobs will disappear. 60% have significant portions of their tasks under pressure, while other parts of those same roles are staying the same or becoming more valuable. The people who read that as my job is safe are missing the second half. The people who read it as my job is gone are missing the first half. What it actually says is that inside your role, right now, a rebalancing is underway. Some tasks are quietly losing economic value. Others are quietly gaining it. Maya and James had the same task stack. What they did differently was not about tools. It was about which tasks they chose to invest in. Here is the mechanism. 4 steps. Step 1. The task stack is splitting. The unit of change is not the role. It is the task. AI handles well information retrieval, first draft generation, pattern recognition, summarization, formatting. AI handles poorly judgment in ambiguous situations, trust relationships with specific humans, accountability for high-stakes decisions, knowing when the data is lying. The mistake most people make is thinking, I do both. I am fine. That is not the right frame. The right frame is, which category are you actively compounding in? James was excellent at clean first drafts. Then AI did them faster and cheaper. And he realized the draft was not just his output, it was the practice that had been building his judgment. The reps. He had outsourced them without noticing. Step 2. Value redistribution is faster than job elimination. Job titles persist longer than the fear narrative suggests. But the economic value inside those titles shifts faster than the optimism narrative acknowledges. Which means, will my job exist in 5 years? Is the least useful question you can ask. A better question, will the tasks that make my job valuable be the same tasks in 5 years? For most people in knowledge work, the honest answer is no. Not dramatically, not overnight, but directionally, consistently, in one direction. Maya understood this before she could name it. She invested in the part of her job that required people to trust her specifically, not just good analysis, but being the person whose perspective people sought before decisions got made. That is a different investment than getting faster at tasks. Step 3. The attention risk. This was the most unexpected finding in the series. The career risk of chronic distraction is not about getting less done. It is about the gradual erosion of the cognitive capacity that makes judgment possible. Judgment is not a fixed trait. It is built or eroded by what your attention does every day. Deep engagement with hard problems builds it. Constant switching between shallow tasks erodes it. And the attention economy, the environment most people spend their working hours inside, is structurally designed to erode it. James checked his phone during deep work. Read summaries instead of sources. Half listened in meetings where he could have contributed. The work got done. The thinking that could have made him indispensable did not compound. Step 4. The one variable that separated outcomes across 30 videos. One variable kept appearing. Not technical skill, not credentials, not even AI fluency. Whether people were becoming more worth consulting. Not more worth employing. Worth consulting. Worth employing is about outputs. Can you deliver? That is the baseline. Worth consulting means, before someone makes a decision, do they want to know what you think? Not what you can produce, what you actually think. That metric who comes to you before a decision, not to give you a task but to get your read, is the clearest leading indicator of career trajectory we found. Everything else is downstream of it. 18 months later, Maya is in a meeting she was not technically supposed to be in. Her manager pulled her in because they wanted her read before committing to a decision. Nothing to do with a tool. Everything to do with trust in her judgment. James is still good at his job. Reviews are fine. Outputs are clean. But when the meeting gets scheduled, nobody thinks to loop him in. Not out of malice. He just has not become the person whose perspective people seek before a decision gets made. Same company. Same timeline. Same tools. One is compounding. One is not. You already know which one you are becoming, because you can feel it. When was the last time someone came to you not to give you a task, but to get your thinking before a decision was made? If you can answer that with a specific example from the last 30 days, you are compounding. If you are struggling, that is information. And it points at something specific and changeable. One question. Once a month. That is the practice. In the last 30 days, have I become more worth consulting or less? Not more productive. Not more skilled at a tool. More worth consulting is the circle of people who seek my thinking before a decision expanding, contracting, or flat. If it is expanding, keep going. Be conscious of what is making it expand. If it is flat or shrinking, something needs to change. Not in your output, in where your attention and relationship investment are going. Maya did not do anything exotic. She made consistent small decisions about where her attention went. Chose the harder version of tasks. Stayed in discomfort instead of reaching for the summary. Invested in relationships where her judgment mattered. It is not about working harder. It is about being deliberate about what you are building because, in an AI-augmented workplace, what you are building in your mind is the only thing that cannot be reproduced for a flat, monthly subscription fee. If you want to go beyond the diagnosis and get a clear picture of where you actually stand your exposure score, your track, a 90-day plan built around it, the AI-era career audit, in the description, does exactly that. It is the structured version of everything this channel has been pointing toward. Is my career going to be okay? It depends entirely on whether you are building something that cannot be easily replaced, and whether you are doing it deliberately, or just hoping that staying employed and staying busy is the same thing as compounding. Maya's career is going to be okay. Not because AI is not changing her field. Because she has made herself more worth consulting, month over month, through consistent small decisions about where her thinking goes. James is not in danger today. But flat is not neutral. In an environment where baseline work gets cheaper every quarter, flat is a slow drift in the wrong direction. The question is not, will AI take your job? The question is whether the part of your job that cannot be taken is getting bigger or smaller, and whether you are the one deciding. 30 videos answered the diagnostic. What is happening, and why? The next phase is the harder question, not what is changing, but what to actually do about it. For your role, your skills, your timeline. That gap has a structure, and it is worth understanding clearly. That is what comes next.